All right, and we are live, and welcome everybody to the Top Producer Show, episode 2. So we're going to be going over the Atomic Habits by James Clear. Oh, can't even see that. Hold on. There we go. We have like 2 different cameras running here. But the point of this show is to show you guys what does it actually take to become a top producer in your industry. Now, mainly we're going to be going over what it takes in network marketing and sales. So let's get started. Chapter 2, how habits shape your identity and vice versa. I think the biggest thing that I got out of that, he's like, a lot of people will set a goal and have some habits, but the reason they don't stick to the habits is because they don't create the identity of that person for themselves. It's almost kind of like building up belief is kind of how I took it, because he's just like, if you think about health, he's like, if you're trying to lose weight, what are going to be the habits of a healthy person? What do they do daily? And you kind of create that identity for yourself. The same thing in network marketing too. What are the habits of, let's say, a ring earner? If that's your goal, what are the habits of a ring earner? Of what are they going to be doing every day? And you kind of create that identity for yourself, because you're saying, this is who I want to become. And that is the goal, and you will work towards that. And I've done it in a couple of different areas too. Before I met Jeff, I actually created a list of every area in my life where I wanted to improve. I was like, okay, I'm not happy with where I am. I don't like the people I'm around. I need to get away from here. I can't change everybody else's actions around me. So I was like, the only logical thing that I could do is change myself. So that's what I started to do. And I actually got out a notebook and I'm like, okay, here's the person I want to be in the next 2 to 5 years. And here's what my relationships are going to look like. This is what my friendships are going to look like. This is what my career will look like. The spouse I want. And then I'm like, based on the things I wanted, I shaped how I'm going to have to change myself. But I had to look at the things I wanted first. And then I was like, okay. And then I created my identity of the person I wanted to become. So that was kind of the gist of what I got out of this. Jeff, what was your takeaway?
Awesome. Similar. Habits seem to stick around forever, the good ones and the bad. Which is unfortunate. He talks about 3 layers. Your outcomes is the outer layer, your processes are the middle layer, and the inner layer is your identity. So Tony Robbins used to say this, is you can't act in opposition of who you think you are, at least not for long. If you think you're a failure, it'll be very hard for you to operate in the space of I'm successful, doing the right things. Being on track, because that pre-programming, and it's really, a lot of times it's a subconscious programming. So that's one of the main issues is he just says, well, you just need to change your identity, which is true. But for some people, they have to go deep, meaning they have to, dig through that psychological mess that some of us have to be able to get to what we're believing that is completely inaccurate. And this is where, Jordan Belfort says, the biggest problem is you believe this bullshit story that you keep telling yourself. And that story is your identity. He said, instead of saying, I'm trying not to be a smoker, you said something about trying to be a ring earner. It's not about trying to be a ring earner. It's about being a ring earner. What does a ring earner do? I am a ring earner. So if you are a ring earner, you're going to act in a certain way. You're going to form certain habits. You're going to do things certain ways if you're a ring earner. But sometimes you have to dig deep. And this is where a mentor or a coach helps out so much. You're like, I am a ring earner. You're like, what did you do first? And, the coach is going to be able to pick out, hey, that is incongruent. That is in opposition of being a ring earner, like this particular activity, whatever you're doing. So they're able to pick it out. So I am not a smoker. So he gave an example of 2 people, who were offered a cigarette, and one says, hey, I'm trying to stop smoking, which means you're a smoker. You're just not smoking right now, versus I'm not a smoker at all. Like I won't accept that because I'm not a smoker at all. So it is a different, one person is, their identity is different. Although the activity is the same. Your old identity can sabotage what you want to change and form a new habit. So your old identity, you're like, hey, I want to be successful in business, but your old identity is I can't get shit done. Your old identity is, but I'm not worthy, right? There's a lot of people who don't feel they're worthy of success because they've been told by family, friends, teachers, guardian, whoever you grew up with, they've been told you can't be successful because, and that's what people do. I can't be successful because I've got this background. I can't be successful because I don't have an education, because I don't have this proper upbringing, because I didn't go to this college, because I didn't have success before in a marriage, because I didn't have success over here. Like, people make up all these reasons that aren't necessarily true. But it forms their identity. So behind every system of action, and this is something really cool that he said, behind every system of action are a system of beliefs, which is pretty interesting. It says behavior that is incongruent with self will not last. Mm-hmm. So that goes back to what Tony Robbins says. You cannot act, you will act in accordance to who you believe you are. You may want better health, or prioritize comfort over accomplishment, and you'll always be drawn to relaxing rather than training, right? So the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. So he gave some examples. He's like, let's say you start working out, and all of a sudden somebody says, wow, that's so impressive. Wow, you look so good. Wow, you've lost so much weight. You've gained so much muscle. However they word it. If that makes you feel good, sometimes people start adopting the identity of fitness, the identity of somebody working out, even though their goal was just to lose weight. Mm-hmm. So that's what he's kind of talking about, this intrinsic motivation. The motivation is you want the compliment. This is really interesting in network marketing. So how do you get somebody who's non-active to start being active? You start rewarding and complimenting every activity they do that is positive. So if they show up to everything, you congratulate them, you compliment them, you publicly announce, this is why this person's going to be successful, because they show up to everything. They might not be doing anything yet, but as you compliment that activity, then what they see is you're complimenting even more the activity of people doing stuff. So all of a sudden they feel good to be in the environment, and they want to now be included in the next group, because, compliments and feeling good about yourself is so rare at work, at home, at school. It's so rare. People are naturally attracted to that. So anything you can do to point out what people are doing well, you're going to be better off in life. So the ultimate part, okay, so we talked about that. Don't just be somebody who wants this. Be somebody who is this. I want to be successful instead of I am a successful person. So he kind of has he had a list, but I kind of created my own. I want to be in shape versus I am in shape, or I am, healthy. I want to save money and invest versus I am a saver and investor. That was a huge shift for me. I was like, oh man, I want to put some money away. I want to. Well, most people who want to never get anything done. Once something is complimented, it drives you for more compliments. That's what people are naturally attracted to. So true behavior change is identity change. Once somebody really changes their entire behavior, it's because they now identify as that person. Trying to read a book versus I am a reader. Oh, I'm trying to start reading. I'm kind of wanting to read, versus I'm an avid reader. Trying to become a runner versus I am a runner. Trying to be financially smart versus I am wise with money. So, quote from the book, this was so good. It says, what you do is an indication of the type of person you believe that you are, either consciously or subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So you're acting in accordance with who you believe you are. And I changed the last word because he used non-consciously, which to me is like you're not conscious. You're like unconscious. I think the word should have been subconscious, so I changed it, at least in my notes, so that way I could get it right. Once you choose an identity, it overrides your temporary wants. Once you choose the identity, it overrides your temporary wants. When you say, I'm terrible with names, and then turn right around and say, why can't I remember anybody's names? Because you're telling yourself you identify as somebody who can't remember shit. I'm not good with technology. Why can't I set up my phone? Because you're telling yourself you identify as somebody who's not good at that. I'm terrible with numbers and bad with math. Why am I so much debt and my credit score sucks? Because you're identifying as somebody who's not good at that, which is producing the result you have. It's pretty interesting. Once you repeat that story to yourself for years, it's not that easy to change. It's very hard. The more deeply a thought or action is tied to your identity, the more difficult it is to change. The more you believe that's who you are, because it's reinforced with the people who are around you. It's reinforced with your friends. It's reinforced with the environment. It's reinforced with where you work. Then it's going to be harder for you to change because everybody identifies you as that person. So there's a two-step process to changing your identity. Every belief you have has been learned through experience. Nobody comes out believing they're successful or believing they're not successful. You come out like just wanting air and food, right? And sleep. So all of your beliefs have been pre-programmed, which means you can reprogram, right? You can reorganize, you can decide who you want to be. And people are like, oh, but it's been so long. That has nothing to do with it. How long has nothing to do with it? People in their 80s can change their identity. So that excuse isn't going to hold water. Why? Because we've seen people change. Which brings us to the second quote that I thought was really good. It says, the more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior, which is why I teach people to go out and present their opportunity. Because every time you go out and present your opportunity, that activity is reinforcing the fact that you're a business owner. Mm-hmm. Versus, well, I sent them a video and they didn't watch it. That's not reinforcing shit. All you're doing is like, well, I'm kind of throwing, a stone in the water and hoping to change the direction of the current. Like you're just not going to be able to do it like that. Mm-hmm. So whomever presents the most wins, not because of the volume, although that helps, but because of the person you become. That's why it works. Whoever presents the most wins. It's in direct sales network marketing, right? Your belief in your identity is based on the proof you have from, it should be have from your experiences, not have of your experience, have from. I gotta change the word. From your experiences. So your belief in your identity is based on the proof you have from your experiences. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So why is it that the people who present and get out there and make contacts and prospect and constantly in front of new people, why do those people tend to succeed so much better than everybody else? It's belief. Now, why? This is a good question. Why would somebody who keeps presenting and keeps talking to people be unable to get anybody in? Because you don't identify yourself as a business person. You don't identify as somebody people should follow. You're giving off some kind of vibration that that's not you. Excuse me. New identities require new evidence. New evidence, which means you're going to have new experiences. New experiences create new evidence. So number one, decide on the person you want to be. So you actually can make a list of who you want to be. Who do you think would be a really, really good person to sit down and say, hey, look, I want to become a 6-figure earner in direct sales, network marketing, whatever company you're in, whatever product you sell. I want to be a top producer making over 6 figures. Who do I need to become? The problem is most of the time, you will sit down with somebody else as broke as you and try to come up with that list. Well, I think I should. That's how it always starts. Well, I think I should. Well, maybe you should stop thinking and you should start going to the people who actually are already there and ask them, who do I have to become to do this?
And a lot of times I found that is a self-confidence thing. A lot of you guys will not do that because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to inconvenience them, or you feel very uncomfortable around them. But that's a sign. If somebody feels, now, so long as they're a good person, let's clarify that.
Yeah.
But if you feel a little uncomfortable around somebody, that's a sign that you should probably be spending time with them. Because it's good to get around those people who are uncomfortable, make you a little uncomfortable, because you will have to rise to the occasion to be able to spend time with those people. Because people who are top producers can be very intimidating. But the good thing is the more you spend your time with them and ask those questions, the better off you're going to be in your business.
Yep. So number one, decide the person you want to be. Best case scenario is go find somebody who already does that, have that, do it that way. Prove it to yourself with small wins. So then you're going to prove it by going out and doing the work every single day and tracking it and say, look, I know that I'm going to make it because I'm doing what it takes. I'm doing what it takes from somebody. And that's where coaching comes in, and it makes it so much easier. That's why Eric Worre said, finding a mentor is the fastest path to success, because if you talk to the mentor on a daily basis and say, this is what I did, the mentor's like either thumbs up or thumbs down, right? I hate to use the gladiator kind of thing. Thumbs up, you're going to win. Thumbs down, you're not doing what it takes. And they're going to be able to tell you right there, and then there's no guessing. So, AKA experiences that support the identity of the person you're trying to become. So, last but not least, the real reasons habits matter. Your identity is not set in stone. Your identity is not set in stone. It's based on beliefs that you've created based on your experiences, which means if you change your experiences, which is why conventions, which is why regionals, which is why personal development means so much, because that one experience could be like, oh, I just met somebody who had my background that made it, right? I just met somebody that has a completely different background that's made it. I believe that I could do what they do, so now I believe I can become that person, or become the person I should be to be able to do it. Next, you become your habits. So what you do on a regular basis is who you become. If you go out and dig ditches, you're going to identify as a ditch digger. If you go out and wire, houses, you're going to identify yourself as an electrical person, right? Get your license first. I'm not saying just go out and do it. If you identify, if you go out and tend to a garden, you're going to identify as a gardener. It's going to be hard not to. Just like if you go out and you present your opportunity on a daily basis, you're going to identify as somebody who's building a business. But the fastest path to success is mentorship, is coaching. So if that's what you look for, a lot of people are like, well, this all sounds good, but I don't even know who to talk to. I don't know where to go. That's why we put together Join My Leadership Network. That's why we started a coaching certification program, because we know people are looking for leads. We know people are looking for what to say and that process to take people through, because they're like, hey, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know what to say to them. And I'm having a problem getting anybody to watch anything. And I'm having a problem recruiting. Mm-hmm. That's why we created Join My Leadership Network. Those coaching lessons, that certification, our training is what has taken many people who've been in for years and haven't had any success. And like in the first month, they have more success in the first month than they have in years. So if you need that help, go over there, register, and we'll give you a call and we'll talk.
Yep. And we're giving away leads, correct?
Yes. Anybody who does, this is for anybody who's not involved. If you're not involved, we are giving away 1,000 leads just for going over and registering. So just go register. There's nothing to buy. We'll give you 1,000 free work from home leads. So with that was a wrap for today. What else?
That is pretty much it. So
tomorrow, chapter 3, join us at noon Eastern Standard Time for the Top Producer Show.
All right. We will see you guys then. So I'm going to cancel out here.